Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsall. The Book of Mormon tells us it is written in the learning of the Jews, 1 Nephi 1:2. And that manner of writing is the Jewish prophesying, 2 Nephi 25:1. And so the Book of Mormon is not literal history, because the Book of Mormon tells us it is not literal history. It is written in a prophetic form, using stories with certain characters that are types and shadows of the prophecy that it is portraying. Somebody got me sick a couple of days ago. I'm trying to recover. Must have been one of those Wyomings. Third Nephi, chapter 7. Now behold, I will show unto you that they did not establish a king over the land. But in the same year, yea, in the 30th year, they did destroy upon the judgment seat, yea, did murder the chief judge of the land. And the people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes, every man according to his family and his kindred and friends, and thus they did destroy the government of the land. And every tribe did appoint a chief or a leader over them, and thus they became tribes and leaders of tribes. Have you been paying attention in the news? Have you been paying attention to an election that's coming up? Have you been paying attention to the threats that have been made if one side doesn't win? And the threats that are made when one side wins? We are witnessing the fulfillment from the prophecy in the Book of Mormon. We have an election coming up Tuesday. It's for the congressional seats. And we already have election deniers. The election hasn't been called yet, and already we have election deniers. They're doing the same pattern that a certain chief judge did in 2020. This time, they've told us there will be civil war. The government will be destroyed. And the current executives will be removed and executed. And there's talk of secession, which, yeah, if you have MAGA states that don't take the majority, they will secede, dividing into tribes, to different states, with a governor for each land. They may call themselves a president. I don't know. Let's see, verse 6. The regulation of the government was destroyed. A little background music, huh? The joys of being destroyed by the great and abominable church. And yet that triggers Mormons. Because that's what has happened to all of you. You were born and raised with a specific indoctrination, not just in the Mormon church, but in the world, to be either Democrat or Republican. And then the few of us who want nothing to do with either, we're the rebels. We're the more dangerous threat, because we cannot be mentally controlled. As each side, Democrat and Republican and Mormon, because it's the same pattern, when they are constantly indoctrinated day after day after day after day after day after day, year after year. And for the most part, they seem fine. They're what's called a sleeper cell, in which they're waiting for the mental trigger to set them off. For January 6th, we witnessed that, as Mormons even went to the Capitol to destroy the Constitution, destroy our government. And those same Mormons who didn't go on January 6th will be further incited again with the mental trigger for this midterm, as we've already seen one illegal alien attack Paul Pelosi at his home, wanting to murder Nancy Pelosi. And then that's just going to expand, because they've already told us that's what they're waiting for. They're already plotting and planning, preparing for election war. And they're just waiting for that trigger that will set them off and make them Manchurian candidates. It's from the movie. The original one was with Frank Sinatra. The reboot was good too. I think that had Denzel Washington in the reboot. We can check. Because we're just going over the election of Jacob, or the failed election of Jacob. Manchurian candidate. Let's see. 62 was Frank Sinatra. And Angela Lansbury, who died recently. But 2004, not seeing. Yeah, there he is. There's Denzel. Yep. And Liv Schreiber and Meryl Streep as the wicked mother. So, yeah. Excellent performances, either one. It's just a different style from a different era of Hollywood. Alright, let's get here. The regulations of the government were destroyed because of the secret combination of friends and kindred of those who murdered Joseph and Hiram. Oh, the Mormons. Yes, I've done the videos. I've connected Brigham Young as the leader of the Danites, practicing polygamy, committing crimes, starting the Mormon War that falsely accused Joseph Smith, framed him, and got him in Liberty Jail, where Nelson then got up at the pulpit of conference and sent me a death threat, quoting perils among false brethren. Well, I caught on. He sent me here. And then for this last October conference, he did overcome. It's a full-on death threat this time. Yay! The prophets want me dead. It's because I know the code, And they're pissed. I know their plot. And they're pissed. And that's why they're keeping me silent. It's because I'm ruining their plot. Let's see. Great contention. Well, yeah, we're going to have complete and utter chaos. Can you imagine that? States seceding from the nation. And then you'll have companies having to decide, do I go into this state or do we build another factory in this other Democrat state? Or do we pull our support because we disapprove of the insurrectionists? Or, yeah, it will be chaos. The economy will be tanked because once you have people seceding from the nation, the economy will tank, and that's what they told us they were going to do anyway. So it shouldn't be something we're going to be surprised about. Let's see. Now a secret combination which brought so great iniquity upon the people did gather themselves together. So MAGA and the Mormon Church, and did place at their head a man whom they did call Jacob. Jacob's a code word. You have to know the Hebrew. Jacob means usurper. From the same Jacob from which we get Nelson mistranslating it. He called it let God prevail. Nope. Israel does not mean let God prevail. Israel means Yah, Prince of God, the successor to the throne. Jacob, by usurping the birthright and blessing from Esau, is now the birthright blessing bloodline, which means his line now will have the Jewish Christ born through mortal parents rather than Esau's mortal parents. And the Bible in Hebrew illustrates that for us with the names of the various children and persons of the various stories. Because Esau went and named his children thinking they were still going to be the chosen ones. And so there's a lot of interesting information that gets passed on. I'll give him a break. He was in the hospital until after midnight. There are too many people who do not belong here. And so Jacob here is used as the usurper. He's usurped the government. He's caused the division in the nation. I wonder who that could be. I don't know. Some mysterious person. He's got to be around here somewhere, because this is the time frame that we're looking at, isn't it? Because we got the election coming up, and I don't know. Maybe Revelation, John's Revelation, helps us with the identity of the beast, with the MAGA cap on their foreheads of the followers, and his image on TV and internet, speaking blasphemies, as he spoke in Iowa last night. I wonder who that could be. I don't know. And they did call him their king. I'm the chosen one. He said that because there was a Chinese apocalyptic Christian group that had been filling his head with all of this, and he's going, yeah, I like that. I want to be the chosen one. And so, yeah, he's then talking to reporters out on the lawn with the helicopter in the background. I'm the chosen one. I'm only the one who can deal with China. Blah, blah, blah. Hilarious. I got the clip. But, yeah, this is exactly what they're doing. They are the king men in the Book of Mormon. From the Danites of Brigham Young to the Confederates, which are in Utah, the commemorative flag from last year with Desnat's flag, yeah, you can see the Confederate cross. I am surprised that they held back on the star. They made it a regular star rather than a falling star of the inverted pentagram, because the church keeps it. But, yeah, we know who these people are by their secret signs and their secret words. Helaman chapter 6. Let's see. They did call him their king, therefore he became king over this wicked band. He was one of the chiefest who had given his voice against Joseph. Yeah, the prophets who testified of Jesus. Again, these are code. It's not actual Jesus. And so, yeah, what we're going to witness is that they're going to deny the election results. They're going to secede from the nation. They're going to appoint Trump as the president of the various states that chose Trump as their successor, as king, to bring him back in. But apparently they're not going to win the majority, and without the majority they can't indict, impeach, and then convict in the Senate Biden and Harris. But we are witnessing a death threat of President Biden and Harris from the Book of Mormon. This is what they have planned for 200 years. So they didn't know the names back then, except for Trump. They knew his. And the Trump sounded, you know, Revelation has Trump all over the place. And it is interesting, the image of shofar, which is the trump in Jewish culture, the shofar horn, that equals 666. Number of the beast, total 666, 666. Hilarious. How did they know? Let's see. Yeah. Apparently, they're small in number. They were not so strong in number as the tribes of the people. So again, we're witnessing that America will not vote for a sweep of MAGA. And of course, I could be wrong. They could watch this video and go, oh yeah, we'll show you, Travis. We'll purposely make the Book of Mormon a false prophet. And Joseph Smith a false prophet. We will concede and accept the results of the election this time. Oh, hilarious. See, they're kind of trapped, because this is exactly what they're plotting, and yet if I expose it, they make the Book of Mormon true. And do they want that? Does the church want that? The church doesn't want that. That would ruin their whole plans of destroying the Book of Mormon, or abolish the Book of Mormon, as I did the video in April 2021's General Conference pre-show, which started off the whole, oh no you don't, Travis. And I think it's on TWG, that particular video, because I think YouTube, the employee, had made sure to cancel this channel at that time for his hate. And again, to help the church cover up their plot against America. And And so apparently everyone is united in their hatred of Trump and all those of MAGA who had entered into a covenant to destroy the government. And so Jacob, Trump, seeing that his enemies, the deep state Dems, were more numerous than he and his followers, and seeing that the investigations are going to continue to proceed. They didn't mention that. He being the king, he therefore commanded his followers that they should go to Russia. The northern part of the land, and build up a kingdom in Russia, a Trump Tower in Russia. Well done. Welcome, Trump. I'm sure Putin would welcome him. And I know any defectors. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Although Putin is now starting to show black hand from the disease that he has. Or is it cancer? I think it's cancer. Can't remember. The news has been conflicted on it, and so the actual news coverage has been a while since I learned of it. But yeah, he doesn't have long to live, because next year is the day that you'll burn as an oven. So how did he know? How did Joseph Smith know? 200 bicentennial year. And the church won't talk about it. Thanks to me. Because I put them in a conundrum. They put out the Joseph Smith papers. The Joseph Smith papers confirm Nephi, Egyptian gold plates, and the Jewish Christ. Acts, that was your clue that Joseph Smith gave you, because he says he quoted that Nephi quoted Old Testament prophecies of the latter days. And then Acts, so that's your clue to go, what's with Acts? What's going on there? So you go to Acts and you say, oh, they're talking about an Old Testament prophecy. But Joseph Smith says, pay attention to the precise word that's different from Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. Oh, Joseph Smith then codes it as saying it's cut off. But in the context, you see that he does put it in there. Utterly destroyed is what the correct translation of Acts is. And Joseph Smith has it in there in his history, which is not literal history. It's coded prophecy. And so, yeah, 103:16 is a Mormon who will be the Jewish Christ of Joseph Smith. And then if you're going blasphemy, how dare you? There is only one Lord. Screw you. You're an anti-Semite. You have been brainwashed by Emperor Constantine, who's long since been dead. And now you've been triggered to be a Manchurian candidate when I said that there's a Christ of the Jews for the latter days. See how it works? And so, yeah, this is what we're prophesied to have happen for this midterm election. Now, why is it this one and not the 2024 election? Why not? Well, because John in Revelation tells us that this is the last election that America will ever have. Because Revelation 19. And I've been going over it for quite a long time now, many years. And we get to 11. And I saw heaven opened. He seen a sign in the heavens. Sign in the heavens also indicates a star date. A star date has to be changed depending on the earthly calendar that is used, but it will always be the same exact date in the stars. And so the Julian calendar will be a different date than our Gregorian calendar. And so he's beholding a white horse. What white horse is there in outer space? Pegasus, constellation Pegasus. And on the back of Pegasus is Pisces.
What?
10:30.
10:30?
And he that sat on him is Jesus. That's why Rapture-palooza murdered Jesus. They had a special gun made, supposed to kill the devil, but got Jesus instead. And so then Heavenly Father came down and was angry. You killed my son. And then he died with Lucifer being electrocuted in the jacuzzi. Oops, spoiler alert. I was supposed to do a spoiler alert. Oh well. And so this is where the symbol of Christ is for the government, which is the sun. And so as you go down to verse 17, you see an angel standing in the sun, which is on the back of the white horse, Pegasus, in the constellation of Pisces. This is a solar eclipse that he's describing here using anthropomorphic concepts, identities, and symbols, and so forth. And so the angel is the moon. And there's a reason for using the symbols this way, because he's talking about the last days supper, wedding feast of the Lamb. Jupiter is the Christ from Revelation chapter 12, 1, 2, and 5, which is in the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi chapter 1, starting in verse 8, where Lehi has his sign in the heavens dream. And that star date was 2017. That's the birth of the latter days. That's why Matthew has it at the beginning and then goes straight to his ministry. It's because it's 2017 is the beginning of the latter days ministry, where the prophecy from Deuteronomy 18 is that Mormons need to hearken to their Christ or they will be cut off. But Mormons are stuck on idol God Jesus of Constantine, and so they're not hearkening, are they? And so they missed the first harvest, Exodus, in 2020. And so the moon is a symbol also of that Mormon's wife, because in order to be King of Kings, Lord of Lords, you have to also be married. A king cannot be the king without a queen. And we'll use Kings and Queens by a new singer that I've found. Let's see. Kings and Queens. I can't remember her name offhand. Kings and Queens, but that's sufficient enough to remember the song. It'll be in the description below, as always. And so what's the star date for this? 8 April 2024. Right after the bicentennial year of the day that shall burn as an oven that Joseph Smith warned about. There's a reason why he kept repeating 22 September, 22 September, 22 September, 4 times on 2 occasions. For that overnight visitation and then once every year for 4 years on the same date. Joseph Smith is coding a message for us in the manner in which he's writing it in 1838, which was what Brigham Young got pissed with and immediately enacted the Mormon War, the election fraud in Daviess County, Missouri, by the Danites. And Brigham Young even had his cover story. He forged a prophecy from Joseph Smith that Joseph Smith said, oh, yeah, the Lord is telling me you need to go and be with your family right now, while the Danites, under your control, will go to Daviess County in Adam-on-Diamond, that was their secret headquarters, and then go and cause the election fraud that will get me framed and locked up in Liberty Jail. Yeah, Joseph Smith knew. Joseph Smith's papers has 19 July 1840 B. Joseph knew who the enemy was, and knew that he would call the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the abominable Christ of the great and abominable church. And that's why Brigham Young didn't put it in our Doctrine and Covenants. He didn't even want to put in Section 85 of the Doctrine and Covenants, but since it was a year before he died, he had believed he'd gotten away with it, and so, hey, why not? Brigham Young then assumed he's the one mighty and strong, and Joseph Smith was the false prophet who had to die and be replaced by Brigham Young to set in order the temple, give Mormons the magic underwear, the idol worshiping practices there, and the death penalty covenant oaths of loyalty, along with sex trafficking, paying the protection money for marriage. And so, yeah, I think we're pretty much done here, because I just wanted to talk about the election. But that's why it's this election. That the title of Liberty election, when the Kingmen sought to overthrow the government, and Captain Moroni takes the band of Mormons to the Capitol to protect them from MAGA after their rally with Trump. Oops, wait a minute, that didn't happen, did it? Yeah, Mormons sort of proved the Book of Mormon false, and yet all Mormons love the Book of Mormon with the title of Liberty. Oh yeah, in defense of our wives, our lives, our freedoms, our money, our comfortable living. No. Yeah, you failed in 2020. So that's why I'm kind of concerned, is if there are no righteous, and Abraham was talking with the Lord and would you destroy Sodom for 50? Oh, I would not destroy it if there were 50 righteous. Would you destroy it for 20 or 10 or 5, 1? No, he stops at 10, I believe. But yeah, that's what the corruption is that we're facing here. And yes, Sodom is a type and shadow of the Great Salt Lake. As Lot's wife decides, no, I'm not going to Zion. I'm not walking in these shoes. And goes back to Sodom and turns into a pillar of salt. Yeah, all of it's prophecy, guys. How much more do I need to prove to you? Do I have to go over every single thing? We'll just let the camera go, even though it ends at 3 hours, because it's supposed to go at 4 hours when it shuts off automatically. But we'll just keep on going. I'm sure all of you will want to be riveted to your seats on listening to me, right? Because I'm the most popular LDS critic, right? YouTube will step aside and allow me to warn you. I mean, since they've already got it set up and checkmate for us, but isn't that great? We're all doomed.